Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 360 on History. Please do check out our website, 360onhistory.com, our YouTube channel, 360 on History, and of course, all our social media. We are back with episode 100 of this podcast, and we are going to talk about the seven wonders of the world. In the last episode, we did the seven ancient wonders, and this one is going to be the modern seven wonders of the world. So, the Seven Wonders of the World, as you might know, is a famous list of extraordinary constructions that have captivated our imagination for millennia, and they are found all over the world. Now, there was an ancient list which we talked about in the last episode. Because most of the ancient wonders don't exist any longer, having been destroyed over the years, a new list was created in 2007 through a global voting campaign. And this modern compilation is known as the New Seven Wonders of the World. Now, this campaign was started in 2001 and the winners were announced in 2007 with over 100 million votes cast. Even though the poll was considered unscientific due to multiple voting and it drew official reactions from countries, the list still exists and showcases some of the most amazing constructions in the world. So I think it's well worth it to talk about them because they represent a diverse range of cultures, historical periods, and architectural achievements across different continents. So here we go. We'll start with the Great Wall of China. This massive fortification stretches over 21,000 kilometers and was built over centuries to protect Chinese states and empires. The series of fortifications were built across the historical northern borders of ancient Chinese states and Imperial China as protection against various nomadic groups from the Eurasian steppe. Several walls were built from as early as the 7th century BC, with selective stretches later joined by Qin Shi Huang, who lived between 220 to 206 BC, and this is the time that is considered the actual building of the wall. Qin Shi Huang was the first emperor of China. Now, little of the Qin wall remains. Later on, many successive dynasties built and maintained multiple stretches of border walls. The best known sections of the wall were built by the Ming dynasty between 1368 to 1644. We have a blog post on 360onhistory.com. If you go there, you can see the images of the Ming Dynasty wall and as well as a map of all the various constructions over the years. Now, second, we have Chichen Itza. This is a pre Columbian city built by the Maya civilization and famous for its step pyramid or El Castillo and other impressive structures in Mexico. Chichen Itza was one of the largest Mayan cities, and it was likely to have been one of the mythical great cities or Tojans referred to in the later Mesoamerican literature. The city may have had the most diverse population in the Mayan world, a factor that could have contributed to the variety of architectural styles at the site. It's an amazingly impressive complex, well worth a visit. I have seen it and it is just completely awe inspiring. In addition to the El Castillo, there is an observatory. There is a field where they used to play a game that resembles ancient basketball or football, maybe a combination of the two. Do go and see it if you can. Then we come on to one of my favorite sites, ancient sites in the world, Petra in Jordan. An ancient city famous for its rock cut architecture, particularly the treasury, or also known as Al Khazne, carved into a sandstone cliff face. This historical and archaeological city is in southern Jordan and is famous for this rock cut architecture and its water conduit system. You must have seen Petra in films like Indiana Jones and many others. The first thing you see is that treasury. It's a really awesome sight. Petra is also called the Rose City because of the color of the sandstone from which it is carved. It's quite nice pink, and in the during sunset, it actually turns into such a rosy glow that it's a sight to see. The city is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, the area around Petra has been inhabited from as early as 7000 BC. It was settled by people known as Nabateans, who were a nomadic Arab people in the 4th century BC. Petra would later become the capital city of the Nabatean kingdom in the 2nd century BC. The Nabateans invested in Petra's proximity to the incense trade routes by establishing it as a major regional trading hub, which gained them considerable revenue. They used to trade in frankincense primarily. Now, there are Roman additions to Petra as well, and you can actually see the amphitheater there as well. Moving on back to South America, and we come to Machu Picchu in Peru. This is an Incan citadel set high in the Andes mountain, known for its sophisticated dry stone walls and panoramic views. This is a 15th century citadel, and it is located on a 2,430 meter or 7,970 foot mountain ridge. Often referred to as the lost city of the Incas, it is the most familiar icon of the Inca Empire. It was built around 1450, but then it was abandoned a century later at the time of the Spanish conquest. According to new radiocarbon dating, it was occupied from circa 1420 to around 1532. And historical research published in 2022 claims that the site was probably called Huayna Picchu by the Inca people themselves, as it exists on a smaller peak of that same name. Machu Picchu is definitely on my bucket list, although I'm not sure if I will be able to go that high with my vertigo. But, we can dream. Next, we move on to Brazil and we look at Christ the Redeemer. This is a colossal statue of Jesus Christ sitting atop Corcovado Mountain in Rio de Janeiro, standing 30 meters tall with its arms stretching 28 meters wide. It was created by a French-Polish sculptor Paul Landowski and built by Brazilian engineer Heitor de Silva Costa in collaboration with French engineer Albert Caquot. And then a Romanian sculptor, Gheorghe Leonida, sculpted the face. It was constructed between 1922 and 1931 and weighs 635 metric tons. And it is one of the most famous icons of Brazil. In fact, you think of Rio and you can think of this Christ the Redeemer statue with its arms outstretched, overlooking all of Rio. So we move on to Europe and we come to the Colosseum in Italy. Now, I'm happy to say I've seen this one as well. This is an iconic amphitheater in Rome built in the 1st century AD and was once used for gladiatorial contests and public spectacles. The Romans loved those. The Colosseum lies in the center of the city of Rome, actually. It is the largest ancient amphitheater ever built and is still the largest standing amphitheater in the world. Its construction began under the Emperor Vespasian in 72 AD, and it was completed in 80 AD under his successor and heir Titus. Now, further modifications were done during the reign of Domitian later on. These three emperors, who were patrons of this Colosseum, are known as the Flavian dynasty. So, the amphitheater was originally named the Flavian Amphitheater. It's also an amazingly beautiful structure. Well worth a visit if you're in Rome. So, back to Asia, and we look at Taj Mahal in India. I have also seen this one. I swear I am not lying. I have gone and seen these icons over the course of my life. This is a stunning ivory white marble mausoleum in Agra, built by Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan in memory of his wife Mumtaz Mahal. The name actually Taj Mahal translates to crown of the palace. It was commissioned in 1631 by the fifth Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan to house the tomb of his beloved wife Mumtaz Mahal, who had died. And it also houses the tomb of Shah Jahan himself. The tomb is a centerpiece of a 17-hectare complex, which includes a mosque and a guest house. And it is set in formal gardens bounded on three sides by a crenellated wall. Construction of the mausoleum was completed in 1648, but work continued on other phases of the project for another 5 years. The first ceremony held at the mausoleum was an observance by Shah Jahan on 6 February 1643 of the 12th anniversary of the death of Mumtaz Mahal. The Taj Mahal complex is believed to have been completed in its entirety in 1653 at a cost estimated at the time to be around 5 million Indian rupees, which in 2023 would be approximately 35 billion Indian rupees or 77.8 US dollars. Isn't that fabulous? So these were the seven wonders of the world. Now, it is worth noting that in some sources, an eighth wonder has been added to the list, and I think this was a good idea because this is another one which is extremely amazing and also on my bucket list, the Angkor Wat in Cambodia. This is the largest religious monument in the world, originally constructed as a Hindu temple dedicated to Vishnu. It later became a Buddhist site. Now, this Hindu Buddhist temple complex is located on a site measuring 162.6 hectares within the ancient Khmer capital city of Angkor and is considered the largest religious structure in the world by Guinness Book of World Records. It was commissioned by Khmer King Suryavarman II in the early 12th century in Yashodhapura, which is present day Angkor, the capital of the Khmer Empire, as his state temple and eventual mausoleum. You may have seen this in some movies as well, especially in the Tomb Raider movies with Angelina Jolie. So, these wonders are all accessible to the public, though some may require special arrangements or permits due to their protected status. But all of them are well worth a visit. Go see them. Now, as I said, this is our 100th episode. We are going to continue with the podcast. We will be talking about these various historical and scientific aspects, but there might be a little bit of a change in the format. I'll keep you updated. Thank you for joining me on 360 on History, and I'll see you next time.